Once there was a man who was incredibly wealthy. One day his fields provided him with the biggest harvest he'd ever seen. The man thought to himself, my existing barns are not going to be big enough for me to keep all of this grain. What am I to do? Then the man had a great idea. He decided to rip down his existing barns and build even bigger barns so that he could keep all of the grain to himself. It was then he was going to celebrate and lie back and enjoy his great wealth. But you see, something terrible happened. Not long after that, the man died, and all of that great wealth went to waste. Every year, farmers across the world go out onto their fields and start to prepare the soil ready to grow seeds. They plough their fields, they scatter the very best seeds across the land, then they feed and water and allow the sunshine to germinate every little seed. After several months, those seeds turn into plants, and then from those plants we are able to take good things that feed and clothe and help us to sustain our life. Mark is a local farmer, and he's going to explain to us the process of growing grain and how it eventually gets to our doorstep.
Right, well, it's quite a long process. For instance, the field that we're stood in, last September, we ploughed it, we prepared the soil, we fertilised it, and we sowed the seeds. And all we sowed was 50 kilograms of seed an acre. The miracle took place. It grew for about 3 months, and then over the winter it lay dormant. When March and April came and the weather began to warm, we put fertiliser and just a few sprays. We're very careful what we put on today. We only use safe ones to look after its health and to control the weeds, and that crop miraculously grows until now. It ripens about the 1st of July, and here we are today harvesting like you see around us. Right, well, this is a combine harvester, but elementary. These blades on the front cut the grain as it goes along. These, what are called beaters and tines, knock it into the machine, and then there's a reciprocating auger, and then it goes into a chain right up into the works of the machine. Now, the most wonderful part of the machine is the bit that separates the grain from the straw, and there's hundreds of little serrated blades going around, quite high speed, and as the straw and the corn goes through, it separates the two. The grains fall down into the bottom of the machine. They're cleaned and lifted to the top and stored into the tank, and the straw is shook quite a lot as it goes out through the back, so no grains remain in it. Then it drops onto the ground, and then we use that for cattle feed or cattle bedding. The grain then is carted in the trailers that you'll probably have seen on the film, taken back to the grain store, and there it is put into what we call big grain silos. They're filled up, and it's stored there until we want to either use it for bread making or cattle feed. It's probably used for one of those two things.
In the Bible, specifically Luke chapter 12 verses 13 to 21, we discover Jesus teaching a group of people. It is here that we hear the parable of the rich fool, a story designed to help people understand that being greedy, keeping everything to ourselves, is not a particularly good way of living. If each and every farmer decided to keep all of their produce for themselves only, then you can imagine the world that we live in would be an even hungrier place. Harvest is not just a time of thanking God for all of the good things that we have. Christians also believe it's a time to remember people who are in a difficult situation. We think of ways in which we can support and encourage people who are starving, who are hungry, who are struggling in life.